On the 12th of November 2001 in Colorado, Jennifer Blagg was tired of her husband, Michael Blagg's constant cheating and abuse. So she went to an attorney so that she can file for a divorce. Her husband discovered her plan and he was against it. So that night, he shot her to death while she was asleep and carried her body using the family van to his workplace. He then placed body inside a large carton box and mixed it with wastes. When the garbage collectors came to collect the wastes, they took everything, including Jennifer's body, unknowingly. They went and disposed off all the wastes, including Jennifer's body, to landfill site. Michael then staged a robbery gone wrong scene to escape with the murder. Human beings can sometimes be cruel, evil, and heartless, going to the extent of killing their wives for no reason. Join us as we unravel the events leading to the murder of Jennifer Blagg by her husband. Jennifer Blagg was born on January 1967 in southern Oklahoma. Her parents were Roy and Marilyn Conway. Her father, Roy, worked as a police officer, but he was an alcoholic. The family faced a lot of problems because of his drinking habit. He physically abused his daughter, Jennifer. What was even more was, he sexually assaulted her, but the assault was covered up. His drinking habit was beyond control, and his unhappy family could no longer tolerate it, so his wife Marilyn divorced him. After the family had split up, Jennifer and her older brother, David, remained in the custody of their mother, and she raised them as a single mother. While in school, Jennifer excelled in her studies. She was also very active in extracurriculum activities, like playing soccer and basketball. Apart from that, she was also a member of the cheerleading squad and the jazz group. She was an extremely religious woman, constantly praying and working on a relationship with God. After finishing high school, Jennifer enrolled at Oklahoma State University. During her first year, she became homesick, so she got transferred to National University in San Diego so that she can be closer to her mother. While studying business at the university, she met a man named Michael Blagg at a party. Michael was born in the year 1963 in Texas to his parents, John and Elizabeth. His father worked as colonel, specializing in aviation. However, later on, he changed his job and he became a military judge advocate general. Due to the nature of his father's job, the family lived in many places, but they finally settled in Georgia. After Michael had finished his high school, he went to a college where he graduated with a degree in nuclear engineering. He wanted to follow in his father's footsteps, so he joined the military. While in the military, he was transferred to Pensacola, where he learned to fly helicopters. He was flourishing in his career, and in the mid-'80s, he got married. After getting married, Michael's marriage soon began experiencing a lot of problems due to the nature of his job. He was being transferred from one base to another after every few months, so his wife couldn't accept the nature of his job. Also, Michael had an affair with several girlfriends during the course of his job when he was moving from base to base. As if that was not enough, he also engaged in drinking a lot of alcohol. After being in marriage for 1 year, the couple divorced each other. So Michael was stationed in San Diego when he first met Jennifer. The two met through their mutual friends. At that time, Jennifer's best friend was dating Michael's best friend. After exchanging their contacts, the two went on their first date on July 1990. They went to see a movie and had a dinner at a Japanese restaurant. The couple were madly in love with each other, and Michael went ahead and proposed to Jennifer. Immediately, Jennifer accepted his marriage proposal, and a year later, that is on November 1991, they did their wedding in Texas. The couple lived together as Michael continued with his military job. The family later moved in Simpsonville in South Carolina. Unfortunately, Michael returned to his old habits. He started going to parties, something which Jennifer didn't like because of her religious upbringing. This led to constant arguments between him and his wife. Jennifer reportedly told him to stop his habits because she knew the habits were unethical. Eventually, she asked her husband to choose between her and his inappropriate habits. Michael gave up his habits and their relationship continued as normal. Michael was always on the move. In the year 1994, Jennifer got pregnant for Michael. Unfortunately, he was absent for most of the periods of the pregnancy because of military job. During that time, Jennifer's health declined, and the pregnancy period was extremely difficult, and her health was at a greater risk. Unfortunately, her husband was always absent during this difficult time, and this made her to go through postpartum depression. Fortunately, in March 1995, Jennifer gave birth without any complications. The baby was a girl, and she was named Abby Blagg. Michael left his military job so that he can take care of his family. Michael began working as an engineer. In South Carolina, life was very good, and Jennifer loved it there. She never wanted to leave that place. She quickly made new friends there and also found a job as a teacher at Women's Study Bible Group. Soon, Michael found a new job as operations manager in a manufacturing plant in Grand Junction, Colorado. So in the year 2001, the Blagg's family moved to Grand Junction in Colorado. By that time, Jennifer was 34 years old, and their daughter Abby was 6 years old. Later on, Michael returned to his old habits. He started abusing Jennifer. Michael would also leave his wife and go to seek the services of the escort girls. He would get massage from topless women. His excuse was that he and his wife were having sexual problems. Michael was addicted to watching adult films, and while at home, he would watch those explicit videos, and he would force his wife to also watch them. Jennifer was tired and disturbed with Michael's behaviors, and at one point she went to an attorney to seek a divorce from her husband. Michael didn't want a divorce, so, on the night of 12th of November 2001, he shot his wife to death while she was asleep. He then placed his body in their family van, and he took the body to his company. He then placed the body inside a large carton box and mixed it with wastes. Later on, when the garbage collectors went to the company to collect the garbage, they also took Jennifer's body unknowingly as waste. They then dumped the wastes, including Jennifer's body at landfill site. Michael then staged a robbery gone wrong scene to cover up his crime as follows. On the 13th of November 2001, he left for work early in the morning as usual. He called home to check if his wife and daughter were all right, as he usually did. When he called, no one picked up the phone. He waited for a while and called Jennifer again, but she didn't answer, so Michael left a voicemail. Still, there was no response, so he left the office early to go check on his family. Upon reaching his home and entering the master bedroom, he found blood all over the room. The jewelry box was also tipped upside down. Jennifer's purse was dumped on the floor with its contents spread out. Jennifer and their daughter, Abby, were also missing. Michael called 911, who arrived at his house and found the scene horrific. They believed that this was a kidnapping case. Michael requested the public for help in finding his wife and daughter, whom he believed were still alive. He posted a reward of $2,000 for anyone with the information concerning their whereabouts. Meanwhile, the police launched an investigation. They noticed that even though there was a huge amount of blood in the room, there were no marks of dragging the body, and the hallway were absolutely clean. So the police changed their minds about the kidnapping, and they concluded that Jennifer had been murdered, so they began looking for her murderer. The investigators searched for Jennifer and Abby's bodies near the Colorado River. They believed that the murderer had dumped them there. Meanwhile, forensic experts were called into Blagg's home to help in the investigations. As they launched their investigations, examining every part of the house, they found blood in the family's van. Immediately, Michael became the prime suspect in his wife and child's disappearance. The investigators interrogated him. Michael distanced himself from his wife and daughter's disappearance. He narrated the events which took place the last time that were together. He said their daughter, Abby, went to bed at 7 p.m., but they stayed out late. At 8 p.m., his wife received a call from one of her friends who invited her for lunch the following day. She accepted the invitation, and the two planned about their lunch meeting the following day. Michael added that they went to bed at around 10 p.m. The following morning, that is on 13th November, he woke up at around 5:30 a.m., leaving his wife and daughter, who usually wake up at around 6:30 a.m., still deep asleep. He then went to work. During the day, he called his wife several times during the day to check on her. However, there was no answer, and he sensed something was strange, so he returned home earlier to check on them. That is when he found the house in an horrific state with blood inside the room. He also discovered that his wife, Jennifer, and his daughter, Abby, were missing, so he called the police. As the investigations continued, the investigators went to Abby's school to check if they can find information that can lead them to Abby's whereabouts. The school said that the previous day, that was on 12th of November, they received a call from an unidentified man who informed them that Abby would not report to school on 13th of November. A month after Jennifer and Abby's disappearance, Michael, who was the prime suspect, moved out of the family house. He also made frequent appearances in the media to state that he believed that his wife and daughter's disappearance was a case of burglary gone wrong, and hoped to find any information concerning their whereabouts. As the investigations continued, the investigators found a note in which Michael had apologized to his wife for letting the devil get a foothold in their lives. This immediately made the investigators to know that things were not all right between the couples. The investigators also found pornographic images on their computer. The investigators asked about those adult contents, and he said his wife downloaded them for educational purposes because she wanted to be a good wife and serve him better. On February 2002, Michael was found stealing a shredder and a table from his office. He was brought in to be asked about the theft committed while answering the questions by the investigators. Michael kept asking them about the possible penalties for murder. This made the investigators to become more suspicious of his involvement in his wife and daughter's disappearance. A few months later, the investigations went to interrogate Michael again. When they rang his doorbell, no one answered. However, they could hear sounds of running water inside, so they suspected that something was wrong. They kicked the door open, and when they entered into the bathroom, they found Michael lying in the bathtub with his wrist cut. They also found the family photo of him, his wife, and his daughter. There was a note he wrote saying he did not kill his wife or daughter. Michael was quickly taken to the hospital, where he was given medical care. As the investigations continued, one of Michael's co-workers called the police and shared an important tip on the day Jennifer and Abby disappeared. He said on that day he was taking some trash out at work when he saw Michael pushing a pallet jack with 2 large cardboard boxes, which he discarded on the loading dock that went to the trash compactor. He offered to help him, but Michael declined. After getting the tip, the investigators located the landfill where Michael dumped the trash. After 2 weeks of searching the landfill, finally on the 5th of June 2002, the authorities found Jennifer Blagg's body in the landfill. She was wrapped up in a red and black tint. The body was unwrapped, cleaned, and sent for an autopsy to be conducted. The autopsy report revealed that Jennifer had been shot in the left eye, and the bullet was still logged inside her skull. A dental brace was found in her mouth. She also had her night pajamas on. This made the investigators to conclude that Jennifer was killed in her sleep. After finding Jennifer's body, the investigators knew that Abby's body was also in the same landfill, and they looked for it. After 7 days of looking, they didn't find Abby's body. Michael silently left the state and went into hiding in Georgia, where his mother lived. He didn't inform anyone, not even the police, despite the fact that he knew that he was under investigations. After the autopsy report, an arrest warrant was issued against Michael, and the police went to arrest and put him in custody. However, Michael was nowhere to be found, and the police immediately began searching for him. The police investigated possible areas that they thought he might have fled to. They discovered his mother's address in Georgia, and they immediately went there. Upon reaching there, they found Michael, and they arrested him and brought him back to Colorado. Michael was charged with first-degree murder of his wife, Jennifer, and the disappearance of his daughter, Abby. In March 2004, Michael's trial began. The prosecution told the jury that Michael killed his wife because she wanted a divorce from him. He then wrapped the bodies of both Jennifer and Abby and took them to his job and dumped them there. Michael then acted normal and called his home multiple times as he normally would. He even left a few messages in voicemail to make it look like he was completely unaware of what happened to his wife and daughter. This is why he called the police on 13th of November, so the authorities considered it a case of home invasion. Jennifer's mother told the jury that Michael abused her daughter multiple times during their marriage and even choked her once while he was drunk. The defense attorney argued that a predator broke into Blagg home and killed Jennifer and Abby when they resisted throughout the trial. Michael maintained that he was not guilty and had nothing to do with his wife and daughter's murder. On the 16th of April 2004, the jury found Michael Blagg guilty of murdering his wife and daughter, and he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. But the case saw a new turn when 10 years after the conviction, the verdict was overturned because one of the juries in Michael Blagg's case lied about their domestic violence history in the jurist questionnaire. As a result, Michael was granted a retrial. However, the Colorado Supreme Court granted the prosecutors an emergency stay to keep Michael Blagg in prison. Michael's retrial began in February 2018, and his attorneys brought in new evidence to try to get him acquitted. The defense also tried to dispute the investigation method followed Michael Blagg's case. However, Michael Blagg was once again found guilty of killing his wife and daughter and given the same sentence as before, life imprisonment.